Hello everyone, I'm Colin and welcome back to my channel. First of all, before we get into the video proper, I just want to give a little keto update. If you missed it, I made a video about doing a week of keto. I feel like I learned a lot about macros and about my own eating habits and why I eat certain things. So that was a great learning experience. I don't have any plans to do keto anymore, but even better update, my Cracker Barrel biscuits and my mango were still good by Monday, so that's a plus. So anyway, Anna O'Brien, aka Glitter and Lasers, is having her second surgery. She's getting liposuction for her lipedema, and she just announced it online. I think it was maybe yesterday or the day before. As I'm recording this, it is August 14th, so it was very recent. For some reason, she covered up the date whenever she posted a video where she was like holding a little card that said the date on it. It might have had some other personal information. I don't know, but I could tell there was like a brief little second where you could tell it still said August. So I don't think it was probably pre-filmed. I think she's telling the truth about whatever date it was, and she might have been just covering up something else. I don't even know if that's a conspiracy theory at this point, but I could see it being one, so I just wanted to address that first of all. Just kidding, Anna just posted a TikTok the same day I filmed this, and she tried to block it out, and I really thought it was just because it was personal information, and I was like, oh, nope, I'm not gonna have a conspiracy theory this time. Well, joke's on me, because for just a second, you can catch that it says August 6th on a little card. Now tell me why. Tell me why she posted on her threads a couple days ago, oh, tomorrow I'm flying to LA for my other surgery, which would have been August 13th when she was having her surgery. Like, the tomorrow would have been the 13th. So it was a week ago. Why? Why lie about that? I don't understand. And then obviously try to cover up the lie. Like, what is going on here? But yeah, in light of the fact that Anna is getting another surgery with Dr. Amron, I kind of wanted to do kind of a mini deep dive into another one of Dr. Amron's more prominent patients. It's not really a deep dive, it's just kind of a shallow dive, if you will. I just tried to get a cursory timeline of this person's diagnosis and surgery journey based on what I could find on her social media. So first of all, I have to credit Sam at Every Size on YouTube for introducing me, probably a lot of you, to an influencer named Allison Jacobs. If you want to find her on social media, pretty much everywhere, I think she is Allison Jacobs with 3 S's and Allison with 2 L's. I know at least she's very popular on TikTok especially, but also Instagram, and she has a YouTube channel also where I think she reposts a lot of things. I didn't look up the subscriber count on that, but I would say TikTok is primarily the social media she is most known for. But pretty recently, Sam at Every Size made a video about glitter and lasers, which she does occasionally, and she brought this other influencer, Allison, to our attention.
The other one who has a pretty sizable following is an influencer named Allison Jacobs. It seems like they work regularly together. She has a lot of posts, and they have a lot of posts, where she's been featured on podcasts, news segments, and even is posting similar surgery videos to those that Anna is now posting.
And I just kind of wanted to talk about some of the similarities and differences I see between Allison's content regarding her lipedema journey versus Anna's. Because there are a lot of similarities. I will say, I haven't seen, as far as I know, any evidence of Allison being disingenuous or deceitful or rude or whiny on the internet. Basically what I'm saying is, I don't think you should compare her to Glitter and Lasers, and I'm not here to critique Allison's behavior. From what I've seen, she seems like a really nice person based on her online persona, and I would go so far as to say I like her. So to get kind of a perspective of what Allison Jacobs is all about online, her Instagram profile says, "Boy mom, plus Dance Lover, plus Lipedema Warrior, plus ED Recovery, and then there are some links to like her TikTok and her email and whatnot. And you'll also note that there is a little bullet point that says ALT Program Ambassador. And you may remember that is a hashtag that GlitterAndLazers has used in the past, and I also noticed she started using it again. And if you're unfamiliar with this whole thing, unfamiliar with my content, or you just missed it, ALT program stands for Advanced Lipedema Treatment Program. That is the lipedema program developed by Dr. David Amron, the dermatologist who has performed both Allison's and Anna's surgeries. Now, people have taken some issue with the fact that he's a dermatologist. I believe I've seen he is a dermatologic surgeon, so I think he's plenty qualified to be performing liposuction. And he does perform just cosmetic procedures on people without lipedema, but he's also got this little branch of lipedema-specific treatment, and that is the ALT program. So Allison Jacobs' online persona has not always been Lipedema Warrior. There was a time where she was mostly just focused on body positivity, ED recovery, and mostly dance. Dancing is what really got her famous online. I listened to a podcast that she was on called the Lipedema Mamas podcast. And she discussed how, she had tried several ways of getting popular online. I think she had tried being kind of like a beauty guru and all that kind of stuff, maybe on YouTube. But it wasn't until she started dancing on TikTok that she found this huge following. And she has over 900,000 followers on TikTok and over 400,000 followers on Instagram. So she's doing pretty well on both platforms, although obviously TikTok is the dominant one. And because of her TikTok following, actually, again, before this whole Lipedema Warrior arc, she got famous enough where her local daytime television wanted to feature her. I believe she's from Florida, and that is where this daytime television show is set. And she did things like leading the hosts in like TikTok dances and whatnot. It's cute, it's fun. It's just to inspire people to get out there and move no matter what their body looks like. And honestly, I think that's a perfectly good message. I have zero problems with that. And like, Allison is a plus size lady. She's obviously, nowhere near as big as Anna O'Brien, and that's no shade, that's just the truth. But I mean, she is a plus size lady, and people really go after her online. It's ridiculous. And well, there's actually another category of people who have commented on Allison's body, and that's the part that really concerns me. And there's a whole element to Allison's journey, and I believe also Anna's journey, that I feel like needs to be talked about more. Allison did kind of a sit-down testimonial for the ALT program. You may remember Anna did the same thing recently. And I think this testimonial is very telling.
Hi, my name is Allison Jacobs, and I grew up dancing. From a very young age, it was impossible not to notice that my body was different than all the other girls around me. I mean, we're staring in mirrors, comparing ourselves. As a result, I tried eating less, exercising more, got to the point where I was eating 3 oranges a day. And no matter how skinny I got, my thighs were always disproportionately bigger to my torso. I went to doctors, I went to endocrinologists, and it was always the same thing. Just eat less, move more. Fast forward to 2019, I thought I'd finally made peace with my body. And then the pandemic happened. I downloaded TikTok.
Uh-oh.
I saw one of my friends doing this TikTok dance with her family, and it was like so much fun. And I thought, what a great way to joyfully move my body and hold myself accountable. Dance Today was like part of my plan. I had no idea that people were going to start following me. And I had so many people leaving me comments, sending me DMs. I think you have lipedema.
Uh-oh. First of all, before we go any farther with the testimonial, whenever I hear someone begin a story with, well, during quarantine, I got on the internet, I feel like it never ends well. I think being isolated from the outside world and just on the internet for a while, like there was a lot of pseudoscience and fringe science and conspiracy theories that got really popular during quarantine. But also there was a sect of people who would get online and suddenly start self-diagnosing with things. And I think the other side of the coin of the people who are self-diagnosing are the people who are armchair diagnosing other people. And unfortunately, this seems to happen kind of a lot on TikTok specifically. I don't know what it is about TikTok. I honestly think it's a cesspool. And I'm really glad I'm not a teenager right now, because when I was a teenager and a young adult, what we had was Tumblr. And I still think Tumblr is a cesspool, but back in my day, it resembled a lot of what I feel like we're seeing on TikTok now. I was just this like angsty, depressed, gay teenager, and the only place I had to express that was online because of how I grew up in a very conservative, religious family and community. The only place I found exposure to people like me was online. The only problem with that is there's also just rampant misinformation and just weird shit online. And when you're like, you know, an angsty teenager and you feel like everything is wrong with you, as I did, sometimes your solution to that is to try to figure out what's wrong with you, quote unquote. And that did result in me, and I know a lot of other people, just trying to self-diagnose with everything in the book. I think the bigger issue is just people feeling like they don't belong and trying to find a quantifiable reason why they don't belong. When I was trying to figure out what was wrong with me and I found something that might fit, I started like manifesting the other symptoms of these things. Like my brain was trying to make sense of it and rationalize it. It wasn't until I got off the internet in a major way that I found those things went away and resolved themselves. And I was left with the very same thing I started with, which was, you know, some anxiety, some depression, things that a lot of people struggle with. That's not to say those other things don't exist. It's just that I was incorrect for thinking that I had them. And what I'm not doing by making this comparison is saying that like people like Allison or Anna don't have lipedema. I'm not saying that. Both of them have been diagnosed by professionals, and if their professionals claim that they fit the diagnosis, it's not really my place to say that they do or don't have it. But what I am saying is I have seen a lot of people in Allison's and Anna's comments saying like, my body looks like yours, how do I get a diagnosis? And the thing about lipedema is it's really difficult because there are a lot of other things that look like lipedema, and some of those things are completely benign. Some of those things are just cellulite or just having bigger legs because that's just how genetically your body fat is distributed. It doesn't necessarily mean you have lipedema. That's why, you know, you seek out a professional diagnosis. But I don't know, isn't it just weird to go to these random people, make a cursory assessment of their body based on what you see on TikTok, and say, I think you have this illness. It's not just lipedema. I see people doing it all the time with stuff like ADHD and autism and just like a million different other things. And just because someone is suggesting it on the internet doesn't mean they're wrong. They could very well be correct. What I'm saying is, it's just weird to get on someone's TikTok comments and say stuff like that. I think people like Allison and Anna have said, and probably would still say, that they are grateful to the people in their comments who said that they probably had lipedema, because it did lead them to try to get a diagnosis. But there's just one other problem.
It got to the point where I had to Google it, and I was like, okay, well, these bodies do kind of look like mine. Let me reach out to some doctors, which I did, and one of those was Dr. Amron, and he ended up diagnosing me in 2021 with stage 2 lipedema.
I'm not going to make any judgment call about the legitimacy of Dr. Amron's practice, but I think there's a reason that people have started calling him Dr. Scamron. He has said a lot of things that are scientifically questionable.
Hypermobility, Ehlers-Danlos, which is a connective tissue disease, leaky gut syndrome in a lot of patients. And that's another thing. Many times patients with leaky gut syndrome have been misdiagnosed because it's really part of lipedema. Estrogen and other hormones that progressively makes it harder and harder to lose weight. So usually about stage 2, she just begins to lose the whole battle with it. And she can find herself starving, eating very, very little, and she's still putting on weight, right?
And he is in the business of performing liposuction, which is supposedly the only way to reduce lipedema. And I just think it's interesting that Allison's story and Anna's story sound remarkably similar.
Started restricting again, trying to control any weight gain, which ultimately led to binging, and that caused the disease to progress even more.
Over the last 6 months, I've had a lot of trouble losing weight. My body's changed, but I haven't lost weight, and I had started to really punish myself for it, reducing calories further, working out more. It wasn't healthy.
So I didn't have pain to begin with, but then I started feeling pain. So I started researching more. I found such an incredible community and started to really accept and understand the fact that I have this chronic progressive disease. So I got back in touch with Dr. Amron, and we decided that we were going to raise awareness together about this.
It's been really hard for me going off of Wegovy, which I had to do in preparation for the surgery. For me, Wegovy, yes, helped my appetite, but it also significantly affected my inflammation and pain. I'm a lot more scared now because I realized that if I don't deal with this quickly, that this is my reality, and it sucks.
Yeah, so whenever Allison got her diagnosis of lipedema, she claims that she didn't experience any pain or discomfort. It was only after she got her diagnosis and then later decided she wanted to get surgery that she started experiencing the pain. And there are a couple of options there. Number one, yeah, it just progressed and it got worse. Number two, perhaps power of suggestion. Or number three, well,
We were able to get some support from Dr. Amron's team and to actually meet with an occupational therapist who specializes in basically writing to insurance the ways that your mobility and quality of life has been affected by lipedema.
much like Anna, Allison seems to be pretty tight-lipped about who paid for this surgery. As far as I could tell, like I said, I just did a shallow dive, so if she did address that at some point and I'm wrong, please let me know. But as far as I can tell, I haven't seen any place where she talked about her paying for the surgery, or Dr. Amron paying for the surgery, or her insurance paying for the surgery. But I do have a feeling perhaps insurance might have been involved. Because if you'll remember, when Anna talked about getting her surgery covered by insurance, there was a whole rigmarole where she video chatted with an occupational therapist. It was very dramatic. Again, I'm not a medical professional, but I've watched Anna fake cry so much that I can spot it from a mile away.
And I've seen your Instagram page and how much fun that you have on there.
But I can't even do that anymore. That's the thing.
Yeah.
And it's part of me being taken away.
And there's another reason why I think there might be some insurance stuff going on here. And there are some people who would say, well, it's really difficult to get lipedema surgery covered by insurance. It takes a lot to convince them that this is a type of liposuction that isn't just cosmetic. And I agree that that probably is a really difficult case to make. But I think it's a case that Dr. Amron is very comfortable making because, well, I saw a comment he made on what was originally, I think, a TikTok that was reposted as a reel on Allison Jacobs' Instagram. First of all, that TikTok is definitely a contender for the cringiest thing I've seen this man do. Honestly, I think it might actually be worse than the one he did with Anna. So first I want to read you the caption on that reel. Allison says, "Right now I'm celebrating this body. My body with my hashtag lipedema arms and legs. I also just found out it has progressed beyond my pelvic girdle and into other areas of my torso. I created this dance for the community, hoping you will also joyfully move your body with me and the pioneer of lipedema surgery in the United States, at David Amron, MD. If you don't have lipedema, I guarantee that you know someone that does. Please join me in raising awareness about this disease by dancing with us and using hashtag love your lippy self. Living with lipedema means living with shame, self-blame, discomfort, a negative body image, and for many, a disordered relationship with food. We've been misdiagnosed by physicians who are still unaware of this disease. We've been told to exercise more and eat less. Some of you have undergone bariatric surgery. You probably lost weight, but the lipedema, fat, and symptoms remain. And some of you still don't realize that you have lipedema yet. But Dr. Amron, the Advanced Lipedema Treatment Team, and I hope to change all of this at Advanced Lipedema Treatment. We can't wait to see you dance. So the video, obviously I had to mute, but it has that song that says, "Who says you're not worth it?" You know the one. And someone in the comments said, "I am worth it, but insurance won't think so, and neither does my disability budget." And who else is into the comments but Dr. Amron, who says, "You are definitely worth it. Please give our insurance team a call so we can discuss your options." So, as it seems, not only can Dr. Amron diagnose lipedema, but he can also get your insurance to cover liposuction. Interesting. It's just interesting, isn't it? And I know this TikTok is like really cringy, and a lot of people are like, I can't believe a medical professional would do something like that. It's weird, it's awkward, it's unprofessional. And I agree, yeah, I think it is all of those things and more. But it doesn't surprise me at all. It really doesn't surprise me at all that he would do something like this. Especially the cozying up to influencers with lipedema. Because, well, like I mentioned, Allison has been on her local daytime television. At first, it was just to talk about dance and to like do some fun viral TikTok dances, talk about body positivity. But when she later came back, it was to be kind of a spokesperson for lipedema awareness.
Today, we're talking about a condition that impacts millions of people, that makes it impossible to lose fat. Most of the time, this impacts women, and they don't even know they have it, which is exactly what happened to our next Bloom Health Club guest, Allison Jacobs, who is a lipedema warrior, a body positivity expert, a content creator, and someone who makes millions of people smile every day on her social media platforms. She's become a good friend to Bloom over the years. Welcome, my friend. We're so happy to have you, and you've just been through 3 surgeries and you look amazing.
Thank you so much. I just adore you guys. You really have been a part of this journey from about the time I found out that I had it, which is incredible.
And then you also introduced us to your doctor out in California, and you ultimately went that direction.
Correct. Mainly because I love both doctors so much. They're both incredible. Dr. Amron in California performs his surgery awake, which means you don't have to go under general anesthesia.
And it seems she's been on local television several times, and she's even gotten them to bring in Dr. Amron. I've made the point before that Anna has gotten a lot of eyes on Dr. Amron's practice by doing these TikToks with him. And Allison's content maybe hasn't gotten as many eyeballs on Instagram anyway, in comparison with Anna. But that might not be actually 100% accurate, because Allison has gotten him on television. And Dr. Amron is no stranger to television. He's been on specials before talking about cosmetic surgery.
Beverly Hills is the capital of plastic surgery. My name is Dr. David Amron. I'm a Beverly Hills cosmetic surgeon. I specialize in liposuction surgery for 20 years. You know, I'm competitive. I want to be the best at what I do with things. I think that we're all that way with our work.
I don't know, it's just a very icky relationship to me. And I've made that comment about him and Anna before. I think it's just as reflected in his relationship with Allison. There's other things that Allison has said that really worry me as well. Number one is her kind of reset theory, or more accurately, hypothesis, because this is not something that has been tested or proven. Basically, Allison has said that she felt she needed to get liposuction to kind of reset her body, because she believes that her lipedema will progress and progress and progress until she loses mobility.
Will the diseased fat come back after I have surgery? Yes, it can. For me, I'm thinking of it as like a reset. So to get back to, where I was before it started. So if it does come back, I'll never be worse off than I am now. So many women don't know that they have lipedema until they're in the later stages and wheelchair bound.
There are many, many, many examples of people with lipedema who don't progress and they do not lose mobility. There are a lot of people online who frame lipedema as like this illness that just progresses forever until you lose mobility and you are in need of a wheelchair. And that really is not the truth for a lot of people. And the reality is, Allison really had no way of knowing whether or not that was going to be the case for her. So I don't know where exactly she got that information. Like, was it the people trying to armchair diagnose her online? Was it Dr. Amron who did actually diagnose her? Like, where is she getting this information? Because it really worries me that she thinks that that was like her sentence in life. Maybe it was true. Like, we don't have any way to peer into the future and know for sure. But with that little hypothesis of progression in mind, there are some other things that she said that also worry me. And that's that, I mean, well, just in that caption I just read, she discussed that she just found out that her lipedema has progressed beyond her pelvic girdle and into other areas of her torso. And I believe I've mentioned this before, but it's already a controversial opinion that lipedema can occur in the torso. But it's something that Dr. Amron believes and spreads as fact. Well, in my opinion, that's kind of interesting because it suggests that people like Allison, other people with lipedema, people like Anna, need more surgeries. They're going to need something that looks more like a tummy tuck, which is something I have seen performed by other lipedema surgeons like Dr. Jamie Schwartz. Pale Ginger Pear, who is another influencer, got a tummy tuck with Dr. Jamie Schwartz. And it was because he believed, or at least said, that she had lipedema in her torso.
She started this morning with a big lipedema belly. She's finishing up with a stomach that I want. So, total lipedema care. We're happy to take care of you. Plastic surgery, we can do everything. We can make things look better as well as make you feel better.
And I just gotta say, I don't personally buy it. All that being said, Dr. Amron says, yep, it can be in the torso. Allison agrees, yep, it's in my torso. But then, after she had the first surgery, which was on her legs, much like Anna had, she said in a TikTok that it has been progressing into her torso.
Recently, I have reposted some videos from before my lipedema progressed, but prior to surgery. And I've noticed comments about, you're looking so good, you're healing so well. I want to point out to you the lipedema changes before and after surgery. The befores are on the left and afters are on the right. I was probably early stage 2 in these befores. And you can see that while my waist is still smaller, you can really see the swelling around my knees. The knees are definitely the most obvious, but also my arms. You can really see the lipedema in my arms prior, even though my torso wasn't affected yet, it hadn't progressed. You can really still see the arms at this point.
I don't know. That just automatically brought to mind all of the people, certainly in my comments, but also things that I have looked up on my own that suggests, like, hey, if you remove fat in certain areas, when those cells are gone, they don't grow back. From what I can tell, for most people, once you reach a certain age, you don't grow any new fat cells. What you grow is the fat cell size. So whenever you gain weight, your fat cells expand, and whenever you lose weight, they shrink. If you remove the cells entirely, well, the fat is just gonna grow other places if you gain weight. So if you remove the cells from your legs, if you gain weight, the fat has to go elsewhere, like your abdomen. It worries me that people are framing this as lipedema progressing when that might not necessarily be the case. I mean, Dr. Amron claims on his website that most of the time the removal is permanent, it doesn't come back. And I'm like, well, I could believe that if you're just removing the cells entirely, but that doesn't mean you're never gonna gain weight anywhere else.
Patients commonly ask me, are the results of liposuction permanent? And they are permanent. The amount of fat that I'm removing with liposuction surgery in each area does not come back. So the results of liposuction surgery are permanent, but it does not mean that you don't have to pay attention to your role in things. And your role in things is to keep your weight down.
I don't know, it just, all of this just worries me, it concerns me, it frightens me, because, you know, people are just going online and telling people, hey, I think you have this illness, not knowing that, I don't know, those people might go to potentially shady sources like Dr. Amron and end up getting a bunch of surgeries. I don't know, it creeps me out a little bit, if I'm being honest with you. I don't know, I feel like I've done enough speculating about things that are outside of my sphere of knowledge. I mean, I've said it before and I'll say it again, like, I'm not an expert in anything. Well, that's not quite true. I'm not an expert in anything useful. I don't know how I ended up in this sphere of the internet where I'm talking about medical things, because I don't know, I probably shouldn't be. But I feel like there's just weird things going on, and I would be remiss to not say something about it. Okay, well, now that we've done all of that, how about we end with looking at some of Glitter and Lasers threads, shall we? I feel like I've been ending a lot of videos with going over her threads. It's kind of like our little benediction. This one's from like a little over a week ago at this point, and I think it's funny. There's a group of creators that hate me. They even have secret little chat groups where they talk smack about me and probably other creators. They've even tried to dissuade brands from working with me. They think I don't know what's going on. Fun fact, I've known it's been happening the entire time, and it's never resulted in anything that hurt my career. And then she responded to her own thread. My biggest lesson from what I've learned is that in this industry, people will judge you by your actions, not other people's opinions. Let people waste their time being petty and invest yours in being great. And you know what, Anna? I agree. I don't think the existence of, I don't know, probably Reddit or anything else has hurt her career. I don't think she needs anyone to hurt her career for her. I mean, she said it the best herself. People will judge you by your actions and not other people's opinions. And like, yeah, Anna. Yep. So this was another fun one. It's simple. If you're focused on being the best person you can be, you don't have the extra time or energy to interject yourself into conversations about a stranger's life online. If you're spending your time policing strangers on the internet, you're doing it to distract yourself from something in your life that isn't so great. Don't pass on the pain. Choose kindness. And I just want to ask Anna, how does she have the time to respond to the people responding? She clearly is. I wish she wasn't engaging with hate online. Honestly, something I forgot to mention about Allison Jacobs is the first TikTok that I saw where she ever mentioned having lipedema was when she was responding to a hate comment. And I don't know, it just really made me sad. The person was just being rude and talking about her body, which you shouldn't do. And you know, it is totally within her right to respond to hate comments. She does it kind of often, but like, it just, I don't know, it depresses me. If anything, I would hope that like genuine criticism that people like Anna see would cause her to introspect, but clearly that's not happening. So really all she's doing with you know, probably scrolling the Reddit or watching YouTube videos is just like harming herself emotionally. All right, this one's a doozy, y'all. For my protein people, these are my latest obsession. They are throat lozenges, 0 sugar, and 1 gram of protein per 2. They are an easy way to get protein in when you aren't hungry. Fast delicious, and also a moisturizer your mouth. This will be a game changer for my next surgery, #lipedema. And it's they're throat lozenges. They're just throat lozenges. I mean, it's basically just candy. 0 sugar, which means 0 calories, so whatever. They probably taste like shit. I learned that from my keto adventure. But that's just my opinion. But this made me so frustrated that I was on my phone at the time and I was looking at my phone and I said out loud to my phone and no one else, "Girl, just eat some fucking chicken." Now, who is out here trying to get 1 gram of protein? You'd have to eat the whole box to even kind of make any impact on your protein for the day. You can accidentally get 1 gram of protein so easily. Like, most vegetables will have like a gram of protein, maybe 2. Just eat a piece of chicken. I don't know. Eat an egg. I'm so exhausted. I am so exhausted with her protein thing, and it just keeps getting worse. There's another one that has, I don't know, there's some nuance to this one actually. It says, one more idiot, I'm sure she meant if one more idiot on the internet tries to tell me I'm taking the easy way out by having lipedema removal surgery, I don't know what I will do. And then she responded to herself, this is not easy, it is a lot. Not only is there a huge financial commitment, but the steps to healing are intense. The surgeries are intense. The protocols after surgery are also no walk in the park, maybe a walk in the mall. So many health experts see my body, talk some shit, and don't even take the time to understand what I'm going through. Just because I refuse to let this process drag me down does not mean it's easy, #lipedema. And, you know, I would agree with her that I don't think that the process is easy. I agree, having surgery is painful, the recovery time is clearly difficult. Like, yeah, I don't think it's a walk in the park, but that being said, it appears to me that taking this route for her is easier than taking the steps it would take to lose weight naturally. Because again, like, there are plenty of people out there who would disagree with this, but also plenty who would agree that Anna is not somewhere around 500 pounds of lipedema. I feel like I repeat myself every 5 seconds on here, but I genuinely believe that to be the case. I think if she really wanted to, she could lose weight. It would just take the steps that I don't think she is willing to take. She has a perception that in the past she has restricted too much and it wasn't healthy. And I don't want her to restrict in an unhealthy way. I think a perfectly reasonable calorie deficit, or if necessary, bariatric surgery might be a good step for her to take. I don't think people are saying she's taking the easy way out because it's easy. They're saying that because to her, it's easier. I just want to read this one because it has always been clear to me that Anna and I may have had a similar childhood, minus the potentially generational wealth. And I think she was also Mormon, and I was raised like evangelical Christian, but there are a lot of overlaps here, okay? She says, growing up in a small town, Midwestern farming community was wild. I remember that we had a school assembly organized by a church youth group where they talked to us about how music we listened to was polluting our minds. They read out lyrics from Eminem and asked to do better. If we committed to listening to only holy God-fearing music, they would reward us with a big concert. And that, ladies and gentlemen, and otherwise identifying individuals, is how I found out that POD was a Christian rock band. Needless to say, we did not earn the concert, and I still listen to heathen music to this day. And that just struck me as so funny because boy howdy, I sure did listen to POD when I was like a kid and a teenager. Well, more like a kid. I had different tastes when I was a teenager, but listen y'all, I was only allowed to listen to Christian music up until I was like 17 years old. And it's not like I got permission when I was 17. I just like got on YouTube and started listening to music I liked. And you all like to compliment me on my music taste, but if only you knew the things I listened to when I was feeling nostalgic. And it is stuff not dissimilar to POD, okay? Just know that. Just a quick thread that for those curious, her next surgery will be on her inner thighs. Not really relevant to me, just an interesting piece of information. I feel like that one will take much longer to recover from because your thighs are always gonna be like rubbing against each other, you know? Well, I don't know. The questionably single cosmetic surgeon might be giving her a thigh gap, so maybe she won't have that problem.
Get super moist. And
Yeah.
this
So gross. It's true.
This rubbing area is going to get reduced. So when I take all that away, we're going to create, basically what I call airspace.
And finally, a thread that she has, of course, pinned at the top. I don't limit comments. That said, I do block people who try to stir up drama, attack personal choices I've made that really only affect me, come at me with facts about my life that they made up, or just generally don't like people that look like me. It's actually quite lovely not making space for toxic people who don't deserve it. Heart emoji. And I'm not gonna say she's a liar, but what I will say is it is remarkably suspicious how few negative comments show, or how few comments in general show, on certain posts of hers. And like, that doesn't mean you're limiting comments in the sense that you're using the feature of limiting comments on these various platforms. But if you're like blocking people and deleting comments, you are effectively limiting the comments. Actually, someone in my comments said that somebody they knew asked her why she limited comments and feels like this was the response to that, and I could absolutely see that being the case. But you know, responding to negativity just means that you don't have anything better going on in your life. Alright folks, well that was kind of a doozy of a video. Oh, also, you might have noticed that my little hermit crab condo back there got converted into a kind of a hermit crab mansion. So I don't know, maybe I'll do like a little close-up of what I did. Basically, I got another tank that is a front open, so it has like, you could put a lid on the top, but it also has double doors that open. And I didn't come up with this, I saw this online, where you flip it upside down and put it on top of the old tank, so it's double the height. So I can give them deeper sand, which is good because Daryl is enormous and really needs the depth. And also, hermit crabs love to climb, and so I'm gonna hopefully, I'm not quite finished upgrading yet, but I'm hopefully gonna give them some more stuff to climb on in there. So anyway, I really appreciate you sticking with me. I know I said some things that I hope don't come across as too offensive, as too controversial, because my purpose here is never to offend anyone or to diminish anyone's personal experience. I don't know, I just, all of this comes across to me, the whole, you know, trying to armchair diagnose people on the internet has always struck me as creepy. I feel like doing things like that online can have real life effects, and that might be happening here, in my opinion. Alright y'all, well, thank you for sticking with me. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe if you enjoy my content, and I will see you next time. Alright, so here is my crabitat. That cardboard, I need to cut it down a little bit and tape it, but the foil is just to keep the heat in. I have some heat mats back there, and it keeps it insulated because they are pretty tropical creatures. They need high heat, high humidity. Not too high, but you know, like 70s, 80s. Yeah, so there's our little castle. They really like it in there. They're hidey creatures. They like little hidey holes. They love, if you have a hermit crab, get them a hamster wheel or a hamster saucer. They love it. They use it all the time. And oh, also, isn't this so cute? It's like a pumpkin terrarium, and I got it at Michael's. I'm gonna put some moss in there. And I got this little one from the Dollar Tree. Actually, I got a lot of stuff from the Dollar Tree. I don't think they figured out how to get up there yet, but also I need to make a longer net that goes down to the floor, so hopefully they can figure out how to get up there. Yeah, the yarn I got from the Dollar Tree to make that net also. Those garden trellises I got from the Dollar Tree, the plants I got from the Dollar Tree. Yeah, Dollar Tree, great. I will say, a lot of people think hermit crabs are like really easy and like starter pets and like good for kids, and like, no, that's not true. They can be really expensive and really time intensive to get all this stuff set up. I mean, the good news is once you do get it set up, it's not that bad to maintain it. You mostly just have to make sure you have a thermometer and a hygrometer, like a digital one, like a nice one, because they do need like, you know, heat and humidity, like 70s, 80s, depending on your species, and they need good sand. You don't want sand from a pet store. You want like, this is just like playground sand. This is like sandbox sand mixed with coconut fiber. That's what's recommended. If honestly, a really good resource is the Hermit Crab subreddit, and also Crab Central Station. You can find them on YouTube. Reddit will also lead you to Crab Central Station. They have a lot of good tips. They're not super low maintenance to set up, but they are decently low maintenance to keep long term. And the thing about hermit crabs is they can live a really long time if you keep them well. I think like the oldest recorded like crab kept in captivity was like 40 something. So they can live a pretty long time. You can get, a good 20 plus years, with a hermit crab. So it's a pretty lifetime commitment. And yeah. So there is all of that. All right. Well, I appreciate you sticking around with me, and I'll see you later.